Hi everyone, my name is Deborah and this is the edit by DH. I firstly just wanted to start this video by saying a massive thank you very much to everyone who really supported me in my last video. I was really overwhelmed by all the comments, all the words of encouragement, and just showing your appreciation for my visit to the House of Eldridge. I was really touched by all your appreciation and comments, so that was so kind of you, and I just thank you so much. I think Lisa Eldridge fans are so unique in that we are very nice people, I think, and we genuinely have a love and respect for Lisa, and it just brings us together. So I really felt the love of the Lisa Eldridge community, and I just wanted to thank you and start off on that note. Secondly, if you haven't seen my video already, I have a so-called part one. It's not called part one, but it was my intro and sort of visit to the House of Eldridge, as well as a review on the foundation, the makeup brushes, and some of the products that are sold at the House of Eldridge. So if you haven't seen that video, I would highly suggest watching that video first before watching this. So I will add the link to the video up above on the screen, and I would consider this sort of like a part two. The reason that I decided to do this part two, it was actually unplanned, and it was based off of some of the comments that I received after my last video. A few people mentioned that they were sad, disappointed that I didn't show the application process. Just to explain, the video ended up being almost 40 minutes long. I think it was like just over 35 minutes. And what you don't see is the raw footage. The raw footage ends up being often double the time, and the editing process is so long. Even that initial intro of the House of Eldridge, which I think ended up being like 3.5 minutes, that was initially way longer. And then, you know, I'm editing, I'm trying to make it all seamless, trying to make sure that you guys get a well-rounded perspective of that store without also boring you half to death. And that's often the case with my videos. It's so hard to try and please everybody, because I've been in situations in the past where I've made really long videos and it hasn't performed that well because people find it boring or too long. Often people will think, well, why are you adding the application process? Because, you know, we've all seen people apply foundation before, we've all seen people apply lipstick before. But then on the other hand, I get comments like, why did you cut out the application? I want to see the application. So it's really hard to find that balance sometimes. So I try to do both. Some videos you'll find that I will include the application, and some videos you'll find I will cut it out. What I will say though at this point is that when I cut out the application process, it's not me being deceptive. So it's not like I go and stick a different head on my neck, or it's not like I go and add filtered effects. You guys know I don't filter my videos. You guys know that I really utilize natural light. You guys know that I'm not going to go and add primer to my face or do something weird in between. Like, I'm literally just cutting out the application process. That's it. Is what you see is what you get, basically. However, I wanted to take on board this feedback. I wanted to show you guys that there's no dodgy business going on here. I am happy to show you the application process, so hopefully this will please both sides of the audience. Also, another feedback I got was, why did you apply concealer? It was only one person, but they asked, you know, applying concealer takes away from the whole thing. So you can see my face is bare. So all I've got on is a bit of eyeliner, a bit of brow product, and obviously skincare and some lip balm. Nothing else. I haven't got concealer on, I haven't got primer on, I haven't got foundation on, nothing. So I thought I would just reapply it on camera so that you guys can see. Another question I got was, why didn't I apply the blush? And that, I thought I explained that in my other video, but just to quickly explain, I can't get blush out of the product. It's basically stuck, hence why I got a refund. So a lot of people messaged, really great idea to just decant it into a pot, and that's exactly what I'll do. So I've made an order of some pots online, and once I get it, I'll just cut it open and decant it into the pots. And that's why I applied lipstick as a blush, because somebody asked me about that as well. Why did you apply the lipstick as a blush and not the blush? Because I couldn't get the blush out, but also I wanted to show you how diverse her products are, so that, you know, you don't just stick to using a lipstick for the lips, a blush for the blush, you know, etc. You could use a blush as a lip product, you could use this as a blush, it doesn't really matter. Makeup is there to be played with, to be creative, etc. On that note, I've also used her lipstick on my eyes previously and it was absolutely fine. I wouldn't recommend it for people with sensitive eyes, but I did do that in one of my posts, so go check it out. Other commentary that I got was that in my last video I didn't know Lisa had launched brush number 1 online, and that's because normally I would have to rely on her online website to buy stuff, whereas since she's opened this pop-up, I could just go into store and purchase it. So for me, it was brand new experience to go into store and be able to get her products in person. So this time around, I didn't go online when she launched her foundation, which is the same day that I uploaded my video. So I had quite a few people reach out to me telling me that number 1 brush is being sold on her website and it's already sold out. So that's fine. However, what I have noticed is that she doesn't have a clear section for makeup brushes, so you almost have to type it into the search bar in order to be able to even find that brush. And also it seems and appears to me, obviously correct me if I'm wrong, that she's not selling any of her other brushes online at this point in time. I still wanted to show you those brushes and I'm glad that I did. So obviously I'll just briefly touch upon it in just a moment when I apply, but I just wanted to throw that information in there as well. So this is the foundation, and if you've seen part 1, you would have seen the foundation. I obviously mentioned in part 1 that it's designed like a spaceship rocket. I like the fact that it came with this podium that you could just sort of stand it up and put it on the dressing table. Obviously, people's preferences differ, so I like my foundation bottle to be standing up. But in Lisa Eldridge's video, she explained that there's a flat side to the foundation and the lid has to kind of match up to that flat side. And then she likes the fact that it can go on its side and it's slightly raised. So she said she just liked this sort of shape, like the fact that it fits ergonomically in her hand, etc, etc. And I think she said that the bottle as well is a special glass. So you know Lisa, if you're a fan of Lisa like I am, you know that so much thought, planning, research goes into all her products. So, you know, that's why she decided to go with this particular shape. So anyway, I got the foundation colour number 7. I won't go too much into it because I have kind of gone into it before. So again, you can watch my other video. I've just squeezed out 1 pump, and as I explained in my last video, 1 pump can cover the whole face if you're applying with your fingers. Obviously, like last time, I want to do the same thing. I want to apply one side with my finger and one side with her foundation brush so you can see the difference. Also, just to say at this point in time, Lisa said that each foundation bottle, which is 13 mils of product, contains about 350 pumps of foundation. So that's a lot of pumps. So put it this way, if you are, you know, minimal makeup person, you don't wear makeup every day, or you prefer applying makeup with your fingers, this could easily, based on 1 pump a day, could easily last you a year, if not longer. So that's really good to know. Also, if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that my skin type is dry to very dry. Most people tend to have combination skin, so I tend to get kind of an oilier T-zone, have a little bit of pores here, and then I have very dry texturized skin around my mouth. So I just wanted to explain that, guys, to you, because it's really important that you know your skin type before you apply this foundation, because even Lisa says you need to prep your skin really, really well. So I have prepped my skin very accordingly. I like a glowier finish, and this foundation is very adjustable, so you could make it what you want, not only in terms of the coverage but also the finish. So because I like a glowier, dewier finish, I put on more rich hydrating creams and balms, and it's also to make sure that my skin stays hydrated throughout the day. But say if you were someone with very oily skin and you apply like oil-free gel creams, for instance, something very light, something very mattifying, especially if you use mattifying primers underneath, your foundation finish is going to look very different to how it will look on me. I just wanted to point that out. So let me just quickly apply using my finger first, and this time I won't cut out the application. So bear in mind, I haven't got any concealer underneath, so I'm going to do that last and I'll explain why. So this is shade number 7. I always like to start at the center of my face, just because that's where you often get the most sort of pigmentation and coloration, and that's where I often get the most redness. Again, my skin isn't the best. It's still suffering from last week, but who wants to see foundation applied on perfect skin? So this is me with a little bit of the foundation on, applied with my fingers. I've taken the foundation just slightly below my under eye area, and you can see that it's given me just enough coverage to still look natural, still for my skin to show through. I've just sort of stopped at the middle point. I've covered between my brows and applied a little bit on my forehead. So you can see that if you compare the side that I've got foundation on to the side that hasn't, the color match is really good. So this is number 7. My face and my neck are different colors. So on my face, I've got a lot more kind of pink red tones, whereas on my neck, I'm predominantly golden. So always try to just match to your face. And I would rather the foundation is slightly paler, where you can warm it up, rather than the opposite, where it's too warm and then you kind of have nowhere to go. So that's what I would recommend. And it's really important that you know your undertones, which I'll go into more in just a moment. So this is just with fingers, and you saw that I pressed one pump and look how much is left of the foundation. Obviously using your fingers means that you get more out of your product, whereas if you use a brush, you do tend to need more product. So that's just an FYI. However, something that I mentioned last time with this foundation brush is that a little goes a long way. Foundation brush number 1, or actually it's called Seamless Blend, and it's called brush number 1. She doesn't say specifically it's a foundation brush, but obviously being the biggest brush in the collection, it makes absolute sense to use this to apply makeup to the face. It doesn't really absorb a lot of product, so it's great at spreading the product quite evenly on your skin. And it's very old school fashion style flat foundation brush, but it's great. I like using it. So what I'm going to do is I'll use the remaining product. I most likely will need a second pump, but let's just go with this for now. So that's with the remaining foundation. I will need to go in with another pump. So let me just go in my second pump. You'll notice around the areas that I have more texturized skin, which is around my mouth, I tend to prefer to just pat the skin rather than going like this, because the more you do this, the more it can bring out texture on texturized skin. So just bear that in mind. You can see that this side is with the foundation brush, this side is with my finger. You probably will be able to see that there's a little bit more coverage applied with the foundation brush, whereas here my natural skin is showing through more. Neither are right or wrong, it's just your preference. So this might be a good look if you're just going to the local shop, supermarket, post office, whatever. Whereas this side is if you want a more polished, seamless look. So I'm just going to quickly go in and complete the rest of the face and just use up the remaining second pump. So now I've got foundation on both sides of the face, and I would call this slightly light to medium coverage. And you can see that I've just stopped with the foundation just slightly before my eyes. In Lisa's video, she applies the foundation to her under eye area, and that's probably fine because she's got lots of amazing skincare ingredients in here, and it doesn't contain anything like alcohol or talc or anything like that. And I respect her for that, you know, you really know there's no harmful chemicals in here or ingredients. But from when I was working as a makeup artist, it's always been kind of ingrained in me that I should apply a separate concealer, because you probably know this, the skin under your eye is a very sensitive area, and the skin here is particularly thin versus the skin around the rest of your face. So that's why you have to always be a little bit more cautious with how you apply things under your eye area. Trust me, in the long run, is about prevention than cure. So whether it's applying different eye serums for that specific area, not just relying on your overall face moisturizer to hydrate that area. Secondly, being really cautious of what finger you use. Generally, when we apply concealer as a makeup artist, we always use the ring finger, because this finger has the least pressure. So we always recommend applying with this finger. We're always a little bit more gentle. We always tend to use products that are, you know, tested for this area of the face. So that's why I always apply a separate concealer. Secondly, I wanted to apply my concealer after the foundation, because like I said, I had feedback where someone wanted to see the foundation without the concealer. Now I'm going to go in and apply my current favorite concealer, which is the Dior Forever Skin Correct. I used this in my last video as well, so I don't need too much. I'll just dot a bit there, dot a bit there. I'm lucky enough not to suffer from dark circles, but it's more just to brighten up under the eye, to give a little bit more of a awake look, like I've had a good night's sleep. So I'm going to go in with brush number 7, which I didn't use last time, but in the last video I did explain that the brush number 7 would be great for concealer, around the face, eyeshadow, etc. I'll use this brush to apply the concealer. I did mention in my other video as well that the brushes are synthetic, they're not natural, but they're from a special place in Japan, and the brush heads are quite unique to Lisa Eldridge's brand. So can you see, hopefully, just how that's given a slight lift to the look? Anything that I can physically link down below, I will link down below. Obviously, any of Lisa's stuff, none of them are affiliate links, because Lisa isn't part of that kind of program. So anything that I recommend, I'm not getting, you know, any commission on it. And even products that I do have affiliate links on, you guys know by now that I would never endorse or recommend anything that I don't believe in. So everything that I link down, whether affiliate links or not, are products that I genuinely love, and Lisa is a prime example of that. I'm a huge fan of her brand and her as a person, everything. So just wanted to let you guys know. So now I've applied the foundation. A lot of questions that I received was or comments should I say, is I'm really struggling to find my right foundation shade. When a brand releases foundation shades and there's 40 plus foundation shades, on one hand it's fantastic, because it means you're most likely going to find something that is spot on for your skin tone. On the flip side of that, you're like, where do I start? Number one advice I can give you guys is to firstly just be really mindful of your undertone. So when I talk about undertone, I briefly mentioned it earlier, you can really break it down, but generally the top 3 undertones are pink undertone, a neutral undertone, and a sort of yellow or golden undertone. I know in Lisa's video she really broke it down into red undertones, peachy, etc., green, but I feel like if you want to keep it really basic and not confuse yourself, I think the 3 that I mentioned are the main ones. So pink, yellow, and neutral. It's really important that you know your undertone, because even if you match a foundation shade that seems like it will be a good match for your skin, if it's the wrong tone, it's going to look like the complete wrong foundation shade on you. So for instance, say if I've got more of a pinky undertone, and even though this color looks right for me, but it's got a yellow undertone, what you'll find is that when you apply it, your face is going to look more yellow than you want it to, or more warmer than you want it to. The flip side of that is I could have a more golden undertone, and then I've gone for this foundation again that looks like the perfect shade for me, but it's got a pinky undertone. Now what happens is when you apply it all over your skin, it will wash you out and make your skin look really grey and ashy, and you do not want that. It will not look great at all. The number one thing is to know your undertone. So like I said, with my neck, definitely predominantly golden. With my face, I've got a mixture of yellow and pinks and reds. That's why I prefer a neutral toned foundation for my face, and that's why I went for number 7. I believe number 6 was a close call. Like, I could have chosen a number 6, but I specifically did say to the makeup artist at the House of Eldridge, I don't want a yellow tone, I want a neutral tone, and that's why he went for 7 rather than 6, because 6 had more of a golden undertone. Hopefully this makes sense to you guys. Also, at this point in time, I just wanted to say I do have a more in-depth foundation guide of how to help you to select the right foundation on my list of videos. So again, I'll link that up above for you guys to watch if you want to and if you need that help. And that foundation guide just really comes from a place of having worked in the beauty industry, for having worked for brands such as MAC, Bobbi and NARS. Especially with Bobbi Brown and NARS, they're 2 brands that really have always from the get-go released, you know, massive foundation ranges for all sorts of skin tones, undertones, from the most palest porcelain skin tone to the richest, deepest skin tone. So working for those 2 brands has always taught me a lot about undertones and matching the right foundation shade. So really, that foundation video is going to be a comprehensive guide as to how to find the right foundation match for you. Also, a lot of people have said to me, like, I live far away, so I can't come to the House of Eldridge to get my foundation matched, and I completely understand that that is a real pain in the ass. What I would highly recommend is, instead of trying to guess, I would really think about investing in the sample sets that Lisa provides. Lisa provides sample sets, I think it's £2 per sample set, and each sample set has 4 shades. So for example, light set 1 would be shade 1, 2, 3, 4. Light set 2 will be 5, 6, 7, 8, for example. And that's the two of the sets that I got in order to be able to find my number 7. I then went into store to speak to a makeup artist who basically just confirmed that number 7 was right. However, where you don't have the luxury of going into store, I would highly recommend, like I said, buying these sample sets is really worth it, because say you try and guess and then you end up choosing a foundation that's not right, and it's been shipped to Australia, it's been shipped to the States. You then apply it, you're like so excited to apply it, and then you realize it's the wrong color. Then you have to deal with customer service, who are fantastic and we know this, but you still have to deal with them, possibly send it back, wait for that to be processed and swap it for the right shade. So I would just say, just be patient. As much as you may want this foundation, be patient. Lisa has confirmed it's not limited edition, it's permanent line, it's a permanent fixture in her collection. So you know you've got time, you know that even if a shade sells out, it will always come back into stock. Really take your time to do your research, understand and research your skin type, your undertone, and order those sample sets, apply them, try it out, see how it goes, and then with more confidence buy the right shade. Lisa on her website also has a foundation guide, so you can go look that up to hopefully help you to be able to decide. I know she has like all those like 40 plus models that she's applied the foundation on. The only thing I'll say about that is foundation can apply very differently. We might be wearing the same color, but it might look different to you, to me, because we might have slightly different undertones, for instance. Whatever the situation might be, use those pictures as a very loose guide. I honestly would do the proactive approach of applying it yourself in natural light, doing the 3 swipes. You'll know what I mean when you go see my foundation guide. So that's what I would highly recommend. I just wanted to throw that in there because that's again a very common comment that I got in my comment section from my last video. So before I go on to applying the rest of my makeup and face, just wanted to finish up by saying that this foundation is a satin finish. This is what Lisa says, with a medium coverage. It's buildable and it's adjustable. So what that means is it's not going to be extra dewy, it's not extra matte. It's what you make it to be, dependent on what base you put underneath. So like I said earlier, if you put an oil-free, matte-free primer, for example, skincare, and apply this, it will be a lot more matte than how my skin looks right now. Alternatively, if you prefer a glowier, dewier look, you can absolutely apply a richer cream balm or even Lisa's Elevated Glow highlighter underneath as a base, and then you will get this sort of finish where it's just glowy, really healthy looking and absolutely gorgeous finish. With coverage, Lisa says it's a medium coverage, but obviously, as you saw, when applied with fingers, it can be a very light coverage. almost like slightly better coverage than the tinted moisturizer, I would say. Alternatively, if applied with a brush, you can really build it up. So 2 pumps with a brush, you can see it's a very kind of flawless finish. But the great thing is it still looks like your skin. The great thing is it's super weightless and you can't feel anything on your face, honestly. She also in her video added some moisturizer to the foundation, and that would make it more of a tinted moisturizer. So there are so many ways you can really change it up, and this is a great product not only for customers but also makeup artists who want a kind of really adaptable foundation for their makeup kits. Lisa said that the formula is unique to her. I believe she's got like, is it, I don't know, IP? I don't know if that's the right word. You guys can correct me on it. So it's unique to her. There's nothing like it on the market because she started from scratch with this foundation. Like I said earlier, there's no harmful or questionable ingredients in it like alcohol or talc, etc. She also has 40 shades in this foundation, and it's apparently self-setting. So there is a blurring and self-setting science behind this foundation. So technically you don't need powder. You can obviously apply powder if you're super oily or you're that person who prefers a more mattified look. But what she advises is that you just wait a little while, let it set, do its thing. And then if you need to, you can, you know, play around or add stuff to it if you need to. So I generally find that I need less powder than normal when I wear this foundation. So I will just set under my eyes a little bit and then around my T-zone a little bit, and then I'm done, I'm good to go. So on that note, I just wanted to quickly add with my third brush that I purchased, which is the number 8 brush. So like I said last time, it can most certainly be used as an eyeshadow brush when you want to really smoothly blend eyeshadows in seamlessly, or as a spot powdering brush, and that's exactly what I'll do now. So I love you. If you guys follow me, you'll know that I absolutely love the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish powder, I believe it's called, and I use number 1 Fair. Just dust off, and then I just use a little bit. A little bit here on my T-zone. Not too much because I do like the glow. And then a little bit around my nose area where it does tend to get super shiny. You can see it slightly softly mattifies it, but not so much. You can mattify it even more, but I don't want to. I like the glow. There. This brush, how small it is, it's just great for just getting around these sort of like nooks and crannies, as I call it, and especially around the brow area as well. Again, with the blush, I won't apply it because I can't and I haven't got anything to cant it into. So if you really want to see me apply this blush, I will add a video of me reviewing it when I first purchased it at the original launch. I will add that on the screen now, and every video actually will be linked down below as well, for just for your information. So again, I'm going to go in and apply the lipstick as the blush. I used, I think it was Velvet Petal in my last video, to give you a more natural look. Today I thought it'd be a bit different. As you may have noticed, the light isn't great in that it's already getting dark. By the way, it's about 3 o'clock right now in the UK, and I am rushing to utilize as much of the natural light as possible because it's, you know it's heading into winter when you're struggling with the light. Today, just to match the mood of the weather, I decided to go for Velvet Cinnabar, which is an absolutely gorgeous colour, but it's obviously very, very different and deeper, and it gives you a different vibe to the Petal lipstick. So I decided to use it on my lips and also on my cheeks. So let me do my cheeks first. Like I did in my other video, I'm going to use the same foundation brush to apply the Velvet Cinnabar. So literally directly from the bullet. Obviously give it a wipe before you use it. Smile. I know people can get scared of colours like this on the cheeks, but really it's about how much you apply and making sure that you just blend everything out. And by the way, I don't know how it looks, but I'm literally, it might look like I'm applying it really firmly, but I'm doing real gentle sweeps across the face because I don't want to disrupt the base underneath. So that's Velvet Cinnabar. How nice is that as a blush? But you wouldn't think it when you look at the colour in the bullet. You can see it's just a really gorgeous colour that really picks up and gives this really healthy flushed look. There we go. Going to add a little bit of contour. I always need my contour, you guys know. Again, just do this on camera because today's an application video. I use the 𝕊𝕐𝕒𝕐𝕗 sculpting powder in light. Again, I'll link it down below. And I use a NARS Kabuki Ita brush to just apply it because it's so easy. It's literally shaped perfectly for contouring. And I just want to do light contouring, not too much. And then I use a residue under my chin to get rid of my triple chins. Like so. You can see just this tiny bit of contour. This, by the way, you can obviously add more, but in the day I like to do a real subtle wash of colour, and then in the evening if I'm going out I can afford to go in more deeper and for that more sculpted look. And just to say as well, because I get asked about this a lot, I absolutely love this powder. If you don't know already, I use it 98% of the time. I do have other contour palettes that I've reviewed before and I love, but I just always gravitate towards this one, and I find that it's the perfect cool shade. It's amazing for contouring because with any contour you need the undertone to be cool to mimic that sort of shadow effect rather than something warmer. Now onto the lipstick. Again, I didn't apply it on camera because I thought you guys wouldn't be interested, but that's another feedback I got, to show the lipstick application on camera too. So here we go. I've got a little bit of balm on. Just take it off the balm so that there's less slip and slide. I will apply the Velvet Cinnabar firstly from the bullet. Don't worry about being too neat with it right now because you can do that later on. Then I'm going to go in with the same Cinnabar colour pencil just to neaten it up. So I've sharpened it. And just to finish up, I take a bit of the tissue, wrap it around one of my fingers, and just do that, because then you don't get it on your teeth. So that's a nice little trick, which I'm sure you guys know already. So it's not the neatest right now, but honestly, I'm such a perfectionist with makeup that if I were to really neaten it up, you would be here for 10 hours watching me. So just wanted to quickly show you how Velvet Cinnabar looks. Obviously, I've got it on my cheeks as well. And it's such a gorgeous, rich colour for this time of the year. It really just puts you in that festive spirit, like how I feel like wearing my teddy jacket now, heading out and finding a place that does really good mulled wine. That's how this lipstick makes me feel. Also, I just wanted to say, because I didn't cover it in my last video, the foundation lasts so well. So from whenever you put it on in the morning, say, to night, it honestly lasts really well. I don't feel like it looks any different to how it looks now. So how you apply it first time to then how it looks at night. Like some foundations can get super cakey. Some foundations can wear off. Some foundations can go really oily and your skin looks very juicy, shall we say, at the end of the day. Whereas honestly, I feel like with this foundation, my skin looks exactly the same at the end of the day in comparison to how it looks now. So that's one thing I just wanted to point out. And also, I just wanted to say that Lisa is obviously launching her liquid eyeshadows at some point. When she does, I will obviously get them and review it for you, absolutely. And I also just wanted to say that with her masterclasses that are coming up, I will do my best to get on and try and book some of the masterclasses so that you guys can be a part of that experience as well, hopefully. And maybe I'll get to meet her for the second time in my life and have a little chit chat with her. How amazing would that be? So that's it, guys. I hope you found this video useful. I hope that it answered any of your queries. I hope you enjoyed the application process. Like I said, I just really appreciate all your support and words of encouragement. I really, really do. And I'm so happy to have found a Lisa community right here on the internet. So thank you so, so much again. And I hope to see you very, very soon. Take care of yourselves.